So her vision of a world where everyone has equal opportunity to education, health, and economic opportunity has brought us all here together. A Glengarry native who has traveled thousands of miles in between Madagascar, here in Maxville, and Nova Scotia. Recipient of the Meritorious Service Award by Governor General Julie Bayette, an award that recognizes, yes, round of applause. Now, for those who don't know, that award recognizes great Canadians for exceptional deeds accomplished that bring honor to our country. And lastly, a highly respected school teacher. And without further ado, it is an honor and a privilege to introduce to you our founder, Kathy Luck.
Hi everyone. So good to see everybody here again, and to get so many nice hugs from friends that I haven't seen for a long time. So welcome. I even have a fellow Waldorf teacher trainer all the way down from Guelph, Ontario, to be here tonight. And I have grandchildren here for the first time tonight. Thank you all for coming. Please join us on a trip down Madagascar School Project Lane to see what we're doing at the Tenaquip School. First, I'd like to show you to our classrooms, of which we have 36 right now. Where the children are learning from inspired teachers. Oops. Next to the lunchroom, where everyone gets nutrition to carry on their journey. Where they get a lesson in patience as they wait in line each day. Where some children always come back for seconds. Here are the cooks who prepare our lunch. They make 900 meals daily. Whenever there were a group of Malagasy people together, there was always laughter. Very happy people. In the afternoon, the little babies and toddlers receive the life-giving nutrition, assuring that they'll develop as they should. Forgive me for showing this old video one more time, but I just love it. And these are our gardeners. This is our garden, where we have 10 gardeners. They are working to produce the food to feed our students. I'm going to need to sit down because my eyes aren't good enough to see that distance. Can you take a chair? Notes for a change to try to keep me on track, but I can't see them very well. I think we're okay. So these are our gardens, and we have 10 gardeners who work to produce the food to feed the students. Now, torrential rains during the rainy season make it hard to garden on an incline, and all our topsoil gets washed away. So to counter that issue, we've dug swales that hold the water and let it infiltrate the soil slowly. We also plant a great variety of plants in each area, assuring that there's always something growing, bringing up moisture and providing much needed shade and humus. Our water comes from a source that's 1.5 kilometers away. So we built this huge reservoir, and half of it is underground, to ensure that we have adequate water for the school after the dry season, which is about 6 months without rain. The system needs constant maintenance due to erosion. As you can see, how those buried lines have become exposed. It's hard to believe that 2 years ago these pipes were buried. Such is the destruction of the erosion. The roads also need regular maintenance, and the students occasionally help with this by filling sacks of grain sacks with earth and carrying it down to place on the roads. So we have a chicken farm where we're producing eggs to sell, and we have bees producing honey. You would think that was maple syrup, because I once gave them maple syrup and they've saved the bottle, but it's honey from our bees. And we have a fish pond where we're growing tilapia and carp, which is an inexpensive form of protein for the villagers. So rice is the staple food in Madagascar, and the school has many rice fields in which our gardeners and parents work to produce some of the rice for the school. And this is what the planting looked like when I was there in December. And here's our rice ready to harvest now in May. And our rice mill, where we mill rice for the whole neighborhood as well as the school. We have a little calf in the barn. We're looking forward to milking to provide for mothers who don't have enough milk themselves to feed their babies. And on top of the roofs, we have solar-powered water heaters, allowing for hot showers and dishwashing without burning wood. Finally, here in the bowels of the school, you can find the regulator, inverter, and batteries, where the solar panels send the energy to power up the whole school. We're the only people with electricity within quite a good walk. And we had a lot of trouble keeping our electricity going at the beginning, but then our handyman, Mr. Finu, apprenticed with an electrician. And now we have dependable power around the clock. So these are the things and people who keep our school going. But it's really your donations that make all of this possible. And you are helping the whole neighborhood, not just the 826 children in school, but the whole neighborhood is enjoying your help, as well as providing 82 full-time jobs for all our teachers and guards and gardeners and cooks. As well as that, you're helping the economy because we buy manure and firewood, school supplies, and kitchen needs from the local area. And we mill rice for all the village, as well as the school, so people don't have to carry their rice 35 minutes to the next village. We're producing and selling fish and eggs and feeding the children, providing a quality education. Here is one of our grade 6 students, Marina, who had the highest mark in the whole county in her state exams, and allowing access to health care for all our students, teachers, and needy villagers. Enabling capable, keen students to go to university through your scholarships. allowing teachers to improve their skills through upgrading and language classes, training construction workers, and providing purpose and a sense of community to those who work with us, enabling a broader social life and exchange of knowledge and ideas for parents as they meet folks from other villages at our school, and volunteers as they bring their time and talents to share. This is Wen Shu from the Alexandria, the medical clinic in Alexandria, who got together 7 other doctors and went over for 2 weeks. And there were so many people being treated, and it was so crowded that they started treating them when they arrived at 5 in the morning. They started treating them right outside. And many other great volunteers have come. There's Peter and Fran and Jo and her daughter and Chris and many others who aren't even here in this room. And when times are tough, like before the rice harvest, when costs are high and families have run out of their stores of rice, we feed breakfast as well as lunch to the children and the staff. And this year we also gave rice to 131 elderly people and vulnerable families. So these are some of the people who received the rice. So many, many people are profiting from the great support that you've been providing us over the last 15 years. One thing that we notice that's changed is our students' dreams and plans for their futures. Of course, it took us a while to work our way up to having a graduating class after starting just in kindergarten and grade 1 and going up year by year. And then in 2011, this little group of girls asked us if we would start a high school. And we did, even though they were all at different levels. And we did our best to bring them up so that they could write their state exams and graduate high school. And finally, as we moved up, our oldest class reached the age of graduation. A lot of them write the state exams, but only a small percentage were passing in the first few years. Now we're doing a lot better. So the first year, try as I might, I couldn't talk any of the graduates into going on to university. And in fact, all of these girls now have families. And these are the students who wrote their exam last year. And now, after 6 years of having graduating classes, we have 13 students that are in university. Thanks to your help. So not only have the numbers changed, but the hopes and dreams of the students have evolved. This past year, we built a workshop that'll teach the trades of carpentry and welding to young adults who would rather work with their hands. Carpentry will also be a part of the handwork curriculum for the school, giving everyone a chance to learn a bit more about yet another couple of skills. You see how lucky our students are when you have a look at other schools. Most schools in Madagascar are very overcrowded with very few resources. And our teachers have gone from being agents who simply transfer knowledge to students by writing it on the board in French and then explaining it in Malagasy without ever getting any feedback from students. They never correct anybody's papers. They don't know how they're doing until they write their exam, and then they either pass or fail. So they've gone from that to being caring adults who have learned to teach in a new way that respects and teaches to the whole child. We're really thrilled now that their students know them well and trust them. child learns that he has a special place, he or she has a special place in the classroom. I'm sorry. So all the ways that they're teaching the children through the arts. And the children used to learn their hands to make useful objects like scarves and clothing, baskets and purses, through knitting and crochet, sewing, and work with raffia. It's been challenging for our teachers to learn how to teach these things, because they never heard it in school. We have to do a little lesson in photography to our principal here. It's a little dizzy watching some of these videos, but we also have to give her a better phone. Every year the teachers asked what courses they might take during their vacation. First they all took language courses to become more proficient in French and some in English. Now most of them can teach in French to better prepare their students to write their exams in French. And then last year 14 teachers took a pedagogical course for 6 weeks. Others took courses in guitar, cooking, pastry, and cake making, language, and computers, all funded by you folks here in Canada. They're also training each other. This picture I just got today, this is the next group that are taking their pedagogical training. They're already teachers, but they're improving their skills. And they also help teach each other. Mr. Jose, we send him to Kenya 3 times a year to do formal Waldorf teacher training, and he comes back and trains our teachers. And they've all learned to play the recorder, which is going to be a horrible sound, but just play it for a moment. So we have a class set of recorders and everybody will be learning. So with this type of learning, the learning goes deeper and becomes much more meaningful. They perform in front of each other. Oops, sorry. I wanted to say that all this learning is not imported in textbooks from other countries. But it's coming right to them in their own language and their own culture, their own songs and stories from Madagascar, from people who are just like them and have had the same life experiences. In fact, the teachers all live in their own villages. And the oxen is iconic Madagascar. And they were able to use the clay from the rice fields to make their own animals. And this is a teacher doing a little storytelling in Malagasy. So they perform in front of each other. And last year they had the first rose ceremony, which is something that older schools do when the child is moving up from kindergarten to grade 1. One of the students in the graduating class offers them a gift. In Canada, it's usually a rose. And then at the end of the year, when the graduating class is leaving, the same kindergarten child gives them a parting gift. So we made some handmade gifts instead of roses. But despite their tough lives, these children learn that the world is good and true and beautiful through the joy and kindness that their teachers show. There's great pride in the school as teachers recognize the strength of their teaching methods. They know that there's something special about the Tenaquip School. They love that the children sometimes call them Mom by accident, and that they're loved and trusted by their students. Far different from when they were just a number in the bleak classrooms of their youth. Many of our teachers have elected to follow their students up through the grades, teaching them from grade 1 up to grade 5. This requires much effort on the teacher's part, as each year's curriculum has to be learned and is different, but it develops a strong bond of mutual understanding and caring. And none of this would have been possible without the help of the Tenaquip Foundation and Graham Wells, who helps us. Tenaquip has built all the buildings you see at our school, as well as the water reservoir. Yay. Though they would prefer to build buildings, when Graham hears about suffering, whether it's hunger or a health issue, he's quick to offer whatever he can to help. And in Canada, we now have a youth circle made up of Alex and her friends at Western University, and 3 young people from the Netherlands and a couple from Madagascar. And they worked hard to make these beautiful posters that are going up in our medical center to help teach people about nutrition and hand washing and so on. And as well, the Malagasy students, the senior students, are gaining firsthand from their involvement with the university students here, who are working closely with them through video conferencing. And it's really wonderful for the Malagasy students to look up to young women in Canada who are making their way through school and making careers for themselves. Lately, we've been inviting people at the school to be part of the decision-making body that runs the school. First, we taught governance to 70 staff members through meetings with 8 people in a group at a time. We did that all through the pandemic. So now they know about this method of governance that really values equanimity, and every voice counts in the school. There's transparency, so every part of the school knows what's going on in the other parts. Good communication, and it's based a lot on feedback and evaluation of how we're doing. So these are some of our leaders who were working with me on a video conference, and we're going through an agenda. So now we have these circles. The main development circles are the project circle, the pedagogical circle, and the health circle. And then when there's too much work for the project circle, for example, because it takes care of the guards and the gardeners and the cooks and the fish, then they start a sub-circle to take care of one aspect. So the pedagogical circle has a sub-circle for scholarships and another one for the trades. And they developed the plans for that workshop and will oversee the teaching. So it's been great to watch them come and start being a part of things. It's a little difficult because some of our people have master's degrees and others are not literate because we hire all kinds of people. So it's a little hard for them to begin to gain ownership, some of them, but it's happening. And in part of the meetings, there's some evaluating that happens, and they get to hear from others in the circle how they're doing, and that tends to be a nice time for them to be recognized and to realize that other people appreciate them. The other thing that's happened from these meetings is that certain people have stepped forward to do things that wouldn't have happened, I think, until they felt empowered. So this is Jean-Claude, one of our teachers, and he decided that our rice fields shouldn't be fallow during the winter, and so he organized the gardeners, and they grew all these potatoes and peas in a whole lot of the rice fields that normally wouldn't be doing anything. So now we got a big crop of potatoes and peas that normally wouldn't have happened. He also phoned me in January and said that they did a poll, and about 90% of our students were only getting one meal a day, the one they got at lunch at school, because this pandemic and the war in Ukraine has really hit Madagascar hard. And people spend most of their money on rice, and the rice has tripled in price, and so has the oil. So many, many children have had to quit school all over the country, and our school was no exception. Everybody was suffering, and so Jean-Claude suggested that we feed breakfast. And he rallied the other teachers. They had to get up at 3 in the morning to come to school and get the rice going so that the students could eat and start class at 8. So we fed all 900 people breakfast as well. And then Madame Irma and Madame Longtu, who have both been with us all 15 years, they volunteered to find and help those people who were hungry, the vulnerable families and the older people. And so they asked all the teachers who in their village, and Madame Irma went and took pictures of them all and sent them to me, and so we fed 131 people and are still feeding them now. As soon as the rice harvest is in, we'll be able to stop. And if people couldn't actually get to the school, they would organize for somebody to bring the rice to them. So all these people, teachers, parents, villagers, and students, they all recognize the great help that you are providing for them and how it has transformed their lives and given them the courage to hope and to dream. Madame Irma was so thrilled that her son Arsène was going to get to go to university. He wants to be a doctor, but so far he's only been accepted in science. But she was so thrilled that she comes every Saturday and cleans the bathrooms. Nobody's asked her to, and she's there 5 days a week teaching, but she comes. That job takes her about 3 hours. She has to lug water. And one of our donors gave money the last 2 Christmases for every family in our school to take home 2 fruit trees. So we've got the 18 villages that come to our school are being reforested. And this is Anna, who came over to Canada to take a course in community-led development. She went back and gathered the community and showed them how to grow trees and sweet potato. And now this is her tree nursery, and we bought trees from her and planted them out all around the school and on church land. And now Anna has to leave because her husband's been offered a job in another city. And so we've started the Joe Saunders Tree Project, which is allowing us to sell all those trees and keep interested people running the tree nursery, and they'll take care of planting them out and taking care of them. So it's been great, super reforestation. So we've seen the motivation of the people who are really increase when they're given a way to have some agency over their school. And this is a crucial step in our journey towards self-sustainability. It's exciting to note that during the 2.5 years of the pandemic, when no help came from Canada in the form of volunteers, the school was entirely run by the staff, and everyone carried on adapting to the circumstances as they needed to. So as I said, it's been a tough year for the people of Madagascar. And on top of that, our donations are a little bit down, as we haven't been able to have the regular fundraising raisers. But minimum wage in Madagascar is $63 a month. So donations go a very long way. We're really pleased when we get monthly donations because we know we can count on them and we'll be able to pay all our teachers. And Toonie Twinning is another great way that people can have a really big impact on students in Madagascar for just $2 a week, cost of a cup of coffee. That gives a child the opportunity of a lifetime to go to school. It allows for a relationship, allows individuals to know that they're making a big difference in the life of a child who wouldn't otherwise get that opportunity to go to school. During the pandemic. So we'll look back 15 years ago to the beginning. We remember students at Maxville Public School bringing in their toonies, their loonies, as each would buy a brick for our school. And the symbolic bricks went all the way down the main hall of the school by June. And with your help, this has been transformed from this school to this school. These three teachers have been with us right from the start, Madame Irma, Madame Lantu, and Madame Julie, who, though blind, manages to pull her own weight teaching language and storytelling. A little walk down memory lane sees my father visiting in 2008, and Jocelyn joining me for the opening ceremonies of the school. And some of the guests from the May dinner back in 2008. I think little Gracie there must be at university by now. These are the same people that are many of them here today and have been helping all along.
Oh, that's close.
And we're very grateful for Ian, who comes back. Has been, I don't know, 3 or 4 times and is here tonight. So thank you all so much for coming. I really don't know how to thank you for all of you. We have got hope. And it's really true that God's power working through us can do infinitely more than we can ask or imagine.
Certainly.
I wonder if there are any questions.